First question says these are the contents of a bag of mixed fruit. So we have pineapple, which is 96 grams, mango, 84 grams, papaya, 60 grams. Calculate the mass of mango as a percentage of the total mass of the mixed fruit. So we already have the mass of mango. So what we need to find is the total mass of the mixed fruit. So for total mass, we're going to add up all of these. So 96 plus 84 plus 60, and that gives us 240. So the mass of mango as a percentage of the total mass would be 84 divided by 240. And as we know, whenever we're trying to find a percentage, we times the fraction, the whole number, or the decimal by 100. So that's going to give us 35%. Then says Tom makes a drink by mixing juice and water in the ratio 3:7. He makes 1.4 liters of this drink. Calculate the amount of juice Tom uses. So first, let's use the ratio to figure out how much juice is being added to the drink. So for juice, we'll do 3 over 3 plus 7. Why? Because 3 is the number assigned to juice in the ratio, and whenever we're making a fraction for any quantity in the ratio, the denominator is always going to be the sum of values in the ratio. So 3 over 3 so 3 over 3 plus 7, and then we times this by 1.4 because that is the quantity of the drink. So that's 3 over 10 times 1.4, which is going to give us 0.42 liters. They want the value of the amount of juice in milliliters. 1 liter equals to 1,000 milliliters. So we do 0.42 times 1,000, and that's going to be 420 milliliters. That's your answer. Then says the cost of a fruit drink that is directly proportional to the amount of juice it contains. A fruit drink containing 125 ml of juice costs $1.50. Calculate the cost of fruit drink containing 175 ml of juice. So as you know, in direct proportion, if one quantity is increasing, so is the other. If one quantity is decreasing, so is the other. As you can see over here, the quantity of juice is increasing, which means the cost would also increase. So your cost is directly proportional to your amount of juice, which means cost equals to K times amount of juice. K is your proportionality constant, which is replacing your proportionality sign. So cost is 1.50, K is unknown, and amount is 125. So using this, we're going to first find the value of K, and then using that value of K, we're going to find the cost for 175 ml. So 1.5 divided by 125 equals to K, which is just going to give us 0.012 for K. So that means cost is going to be 0.012 times 175, which is equal to $2.1. So once again, if it says directly proportional, going to use this. If it's indirectly proportional, then you would do cost is indirectly proportional to 1 over the amount. So C equals to K over A. So indirect, you multiply the proportionality constant with the other variable, and in indirect, you divide the proportionality constant by the other variable. Then it says coffee has a bag containing nuts and raisins. There are 285 grams of raisins in the bag. The remaining 62% of the mass in the bag is nuts. Calculate the mass of nuts in the bag. So we have 285 grams of raisins, and 62% of the mass in the bag is nuts. So if 62% is nuts, that means raisins are going to be 100 minus 62, which is basically equal to 38%. So 38% of the contents of the bag are raisins. Now they gave us 285 as the weight for mass of, sorry. So they gave 285 grams as the mass of raisins. So 285 over your total mass is the same as 38 over 100. So to find the total mass of the bag, we will do 285 times 100 over 38, which is going to give us 750 grams. So now to find the mass of nuts, we'll do 62 over 100 times 750. Or you could do 750 minus 285. Both ways you'll get the same answer. So that's going to be 465 grams. That is the mass of nuts. Then it says the mass of mixed nuts and seeds in a bag is 500 grams. Correct to the nearest 10 grams. The mass of nuts in the bag is 350 grams. Correct to the nearest 5 grams. Calculate the upper bound and the lower bound of the mass of seeds in the bag. So this is basically upper bound and lower bound as it says in the question. So it has just like 2-3 steps. If we understand those steps, you can easily score these marks. So the mass of mixed nuts and seeds is 500 grams, correct to the nearest 10 gram. The mass of nuts is 350 grams, correct to the nearest 5 grams. We're trying to find the mass of seeds and their upper and lower bound. That means for mass of seeds, it's going to be total minus the mass of nuts. So as you can see, we're finding the difference. So there's a rule for finding the difference when you're trying to find the upper bound and lower bound. If you're trying to find the upper bound, then you would do upper bound minus lower bound. Because you're trying to find the maximum value. The maximum value cannot be found if we subtract both the maximum values. Maximum value can only be found if we subtract the minimum value from the maximum value. Similarly, for the lower bound, we would do lower bound minus the upper bound. Because to get the minimum value, we're taking away the maximum value from the minimum value. So keeping that in mind, we need to find the upper and lower bound of the total mass, and same goes for the mass of nuts. So first, let's find the upper and lower bound for the total mass. For total mass, your degree of accuracy is 10. So you'll first divide the degree of accuracy by 2, which is 5 grams. So for the upper bound, we will add 5 to 500, which gives us 505 grams. And for the lower bound, we will subtract 5 from 100, which will give us 495 grams. These are your upper and lower bounds for the total mass. Now for the mass of nuts, your degree of accuracy is 5. So we divide 5 by 2, which gives us 2.5 grams. So upper bound would be 350 plus 2.5, which is going to be 357.5 grams. And lower bound would be 350 minus 2.5, which is going to give us 347.5 grams. Upper bound would be 352.5 grams, sorry. Now for the upper bound, for the mass of seeds, we'll do 505 minus 347.5, which gives us 157.5 grams. For the lower bound of the mass of seeds, we'll do 495 minus 352.5, which equals 142.5 grams. So these are your upper and lower bounds for the mass of seeds. Remember, when you're trying to find the difference, if you're trying to find the maximum value, which is the upper bound, we will do the upper bound minus the lower bound. And if you're trying to find the minimum value, which is the lower bound, we will do lower bound minus the upper bound. We're basically subtracting the bigger value from the smaller one. And for upper bounds and lower bounds in division, and the rule is also similar. Like if trying to find the upper bound in division, the numerator is upper bound, denominator is lower bound. And if you're trying to find the lower bound in division, your numerator is lower bound and denominator is upper bound. If you're someone who still gets confused in upper and lower bound, I'm going to attach a link of this video that I made on upper and lower bounds. Check that out. And if you still have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll help you out. Then says the table shows the age and the value of 10 cars of the same model. Complete the scatter diagram. The first 6 points have been plotted for you. We have 5 and 4,500. It's over here. Then 6 and 3,000. That's here. 8 and 1,500. That's here. And 8 and 2,000. These are our remaining points. Then it says draw a line of best fit and then use your line of best fit to find an estimate for the value of a car of this model that is 7 years old. The line of best fit, we pick those points which give us an equal number of points above and below the line. So let's see what we have. This is the best case scenario for the line of best fit. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 points above, 1, 2, 3, 4 points below. So now we have to find the value of the car at 7 years. So we draw a line from 7. That's giving me 2,200. So a line drawn from 7 is giving me a value of $2,200. Then it says Jay has a car of this model that is 12 years old and he wants to find its value. Explain why Jay should not use the scatter diagram to find an estimate for the value of this car. So if the car is 12 years old, we can see that the values given in the table, they are only catering to the years 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So even if we have a car that has a value of 12, it's not going to fall on the line of best fit because it's completely out of the range. So his value is out of the range, thus making the scatter diagram inaccurate for him. if the value was within the range, then you could have used a scatter diagram to find the estimate value of the car. But since it's not, so it's going to be inaccurate for him if he uses this line of best fit. Then says J records the distances traveled by 50 cars. The frequency table shows the results. Work out the fraction of the cars that have traveled more than 50,000 kilometers. So more than 50,000 kilometers are basically these. Total number of cars are 50. So that's going to be 28 over 50, which we can simplify to 14 over 25. Then find the interval that contains the median. Median is your middle value. So if you have 50 cars, 50 divided by 2 is 25. So we need to see in these values, where does the 25th car come? So in the first interval, we have 8 cars. In the second interval, we have 14. So these add up to 22 cars. So in the next interval, we have 11 cars, which means the 23rd, 24th, and the 25th car is going to be over here. So your median interval is going to be distance is greater than 50, but less than equal to 60. Then calculate estimate for the mean distance traveled. For the estimate of the mean, that is always asked whenever you have class intervals for the data set. So what you do is first you find the midpoint of the class intervals, which will be your x values. So if I make this row over here, midpoint of 10 and 40 is going to be 25. Midpoint of 1450 is going to be 45. Midpoint of 1560 is going to be 55. And that of 1600 is going to be 80. So once you've identified our midpoint values, you use the mean formula, which is sigma fx over sigma f. Sigma fx is going to be 25 times 8 plus 45 times 14 plus 55 times 11 plus 80 times 17. Which is going to be divided by the total number of cars, which is 50. So this will give you a value of 55.9 kilometers as the mean distance traveled. So remember, first you find the midpoint of the class intervals, then you times that by the frequency, add up all the values and divide it by the total frequency. Question 3 says the diagram shows a tank. The tank is a cuboid with length 1.2 meters, width 0.6 meters, and height h meters. The volume of the tank is 1.8 meter cube. Calculate the value of h. So as you would know, the volume of a cuboid or like a cube is length times width times height. So this is your length, this is your width, and height is what we're trying to find. So we easily use the volume. 1.8 equals to 1.2 times 0.6 times the height. So 1.8 equals to 0.72 times h. Then we divide 1.8 by 0.72, and that gives us with a value of 2.5 meters. So that's your height of the cuboid. Fuel is pumped into the empty tank at a rate of 0.2 meter cube per minute. Calculate the time taken to fill the tank to 90% of its volume, giving your answer in minutes and seconds. So 0.2 meter cube per minute is the rate at which the fuel is pumped. They're saying that calculate the time to fill the tank to 90% of its volume. So we know that the volume is 1.8 meter cube for the cuboid. So 90% of 1.8 is going to give us 1.62 meter cube. So they want us to find the time it takes to fill this much of the tank. So rate is given as 0.2. So 0.2 is the same as your volume divided by time. Because if you look at the units, it's meter cube per minute, which means the volume was divided by time to get this rate. So then time would be 1.62 over 0.2, which leaves us with 8.1 minutes. Why minutes? Because it's 0.2 meter cube per minute. Volume is in meter cube, time is in minutes. They want it in minutes and second. So this 0.1 over here, because it's basically 8 plus 0.1. So this 8 is your minute, and the 0.1 gets converted into seconds when we times it by 60. Why? Because 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So 0.1 times 60 is going to be 6. So that means it's 8 minutes and 6 seconds. That is your final answer. Remember, like when you're trying to convert like time into like, for example, you calculate into hours and the question wants you to split it into hours and minutes. So whatever like your numbers are after the decimal, like, if it's 7.34, let's say. So 0.34 will be multiplied to 60. That would give us that value in minutes. So 7 would be your hours, and whatever the minutes are, that would be your minute value. So always split it, keep the whole number on one side, the decimal on the other side, multiply the decimal by 60 based on what you're trying to find. And that's how you split it into two different units. Then it says the diagram shows a tank with an open top. The tank is a prism with trapezium ABCD as its cross section. AD equals to BC equals to 70 centimeters. CD equals to 80 centimeters and AB is 110 centimeters. The base of the tank is a square. Calculate the total surface area of the outside of the tank. So base of the tank is a square, so let's find the area of the base. That's going to be 80 times 80, which is 6,400 centimeters square. Now over here, if I split this into a rectangle into identical triangles, we know that this is 80. And if this total is 110, that means we do 110 minus 80, which is 30, which means this is 15 and this is also 15 because they're identical triangles. Now, to find the total surface area, need to find this height over here. What's the trapezium? And for trapezium, we need the height in order to calculate the area. So we can see that this is a right angle triangle. We have the hypotenuse, we have another length, and we have to find the third length. So we can use Pythagoras to find the value of h. So 70 squared minus 15 squared equals to h squared. So that gives us 4675. Square root that, and that's going to be 68.37 centimeter as your height. Now, once we have the value of h, we can find the area of the cross section of the trapezium. So area of trapezium would be 1 over 2 times the height times the sum of parallel sides. So that's 110 plus 80. And we would multiply this by 2 because there are two trapezium faces. So that is going to give us a value of 12,990.3 centimeters square. Now, we have the side rectangular faces. So we know that this is 70 and this is 80. So we can do B, C, G, F. So area of this is going to be 70 times 80. And since they're two identical faces, so we times it by 2. That's going to be 11,200 centimeters square. So we have area of the base, we have the area of the sides and the trapezium faces. So now we can just add these up. Total area would be 11,200 plus 12,990.3 plus 6,400 And that gives us 30,590.3 centimeters square. That is the total surface area of the outside of the tank. Then it says Anya buys 4 shirts and 3 hats. She pays $100 and receives $21.50 in change. Each shirt costs the same amount. Each hat costs $13.50. Work out the cost of one shirt. So they have told us that she's paying 100 and she's getting 21.5. So let's see what was the actual cost of all of these things. So cost would be 100 minus 21.50, which is equal to $78.5. Now, 78.5 is equal to 4 shirts and 3 hats. So we don't know the cost of the shirt, so we're trying to find that. So cost of shirt is X. And for hats, it's going to be 3 times 13.50. So 78.5 equals to 4x plus 40.5. 78.5 minus 40.5 equals to 4x, which is going to be 38. 38 divided by 4, which is $9.5. That's the cost of one shirt. Then the exchange rate between dollars and euros is $1 equals to 0.91 euros. Anya buys a new camera for $150. She sees the same camera for sale online for 140 euros. Calculate the difference between the price in dollars and the price in euros, giving the answer in dollars. Correct with the nearest set. So let's first find 140 euros in dollars. So for that, we'll do 140 divided by 0.91, which is equal to $153.85. So if we subtract the price that she bought it at and the price that it is available online, which is 153.85, so that's 150 minus 153.85, which is equal to $3.85. So your answer in dollars to the nearest cent would be $3.85. Then it says Anya invests $600 in a savings account. The account pays compound interest at a rate of R% per year. At the end of 3 years, the total interest is $21.86. Calculate the value of R. So for compound interest, your formula is principal amount times 1 plus rate of interest over 100 to the power of time. We know that she invested 600 and 1 plus R over 100. Time period is 3. At the end of 3 years, the total interest is 21.86, which means we will add 621.86 to find the compound interest value, because the compound interest formula gives us the final amount. It doesn't give us the interest value, whereas a simple interest formula gives us the interest value, and then we have to add that interest to the initial amount to get the final value. So this would be 621.86 equals to 600 times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of 3. 621.86 over 600 equals to 1 plus R over 100 to the power of 3, which is going to give us 1.0364 equals to 1 plus R over 100 to the power of 3. Then we take the cube root on both sides. So that's going to give us 1.012 equals to 1 plus R over 100. 1.012 minus 1 equals to R over 100. To 0.012 equals to R over 100. Multiply 0.012 with 100. And that leaves us with 1.2%. That is your rate of interest. Question 5 says Mandeep has these 9 number cards. She takes one of the 9 cards at random, knows the number, and replaces it. Find the probability that the card shows an odd number. So if we look at the cards, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 odd numbers. So it's going to be 4 out of 9. Then it says Mandeep takes one of the 9 cards at random, notes the number, and replaces it. She then takes a second card at random. Find the probability that both cards show the number 1. So the probability of getting a 1 is going to be 2 over 9. And since she's noting the number and replacing it, that means the probability is not changing. If she was not replacing it, then the probability would change to 1 over 8. But since the card is going back into the deck, so it's still going to be 2 over 9. So 2 over 9 times 2 over 9, which is 4 over 81. That is your probability. So the key word over here is replaces it. Then it says Mandeep takes 2 of the 9 cards at random without replacement. Without replacement is the keyword over here. She calculates the product of the 2 numbers shown. Find the probability that the product is less than 5. So going back to our numbers. So product is less than 5 would be 1 times 2 and 2 times 2. That's it. And 1 times 1 is not, sorry, yeah. So 1 times 1, 1 times 2, and 2 times 2. So the probability of getting a 1 is 2 over 9. The probability of getting a 2 is 3 over 9. So now if we scroll down, these are 3 possible combinations, 1 times 1, 2 times 2, and 1 times 2. So since it's without replacement, so if we do for 1 times 1, that's going to be 2 over 9 times 1 over 8. That is the probability of us getting a product of 1 plus 3 over 9 times 2 over 8. The reason why it's becoming 8 now in the denominator and the number of 1 card and 2 cards are also decreasing because it says without replacement, which means once you've taken the card out, it's out of the total cards. It's not being a part of it. And then lastly, for 1 and 2, so that's going to be 2 over 9 times 3 over 8. Now for 2 over 9 times 3 over 8, we're going to times it by 2 as well because this can be or 2 times 1. We can pick the number 2 card first and then the number 1 card. So both these would give us a product of 2. Whereas for 1, 1 and 2, 2, like it doesn't make a difference because we're picking the same number. So this is going to be 2 over 72 plus 6 over 72 plus 12 over 72. That's going to give us 20 over 72. Which is going to be 5 over 18. So that's your final. Question 6 is complete the table for y equals to x over 4 times 2x squared minus x minus 10. So we have a table, they've given us an equation and they want us to find the missing value of x. All you would do is you would replace x with negative 3 in the equation and find the value of y, which is going to give us negative 8.25. Then it says draw a graph of y equals to x over 4 times 2x squared minus x minus 10 for x greater than equal to negative 3 but less than equal to 3. -3 and -8.25. That's clear. Then -2, 0, -1 and 1.75. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 and -2.25. 2, -2, and 3, 3.75. So now we connect these points. This is your graph. Since the equation x over 4 times 2x² minus x minus 10 equals to k has exactly two solutions. Use your graph to find the possible values of k. And then by drawing a suitable line on the grid, find the solution of 2x cubed minus x² minus 10x equals to 2x minus 4. Okay. So first, let's find the values of k, where it has two solutions. So two solutions are going to be we can say these are the two solutions, or we can even use the minimum point over here. These can also be the two solutions. So either of these would be correct. So I getting 2, 4, 6, 7, 1.7 and -2.8. These are the two values for k. Then it says by drawing the suitable line on the grid, find the solution of 2x cubed minus x² minus 10x equals to 2x minus 4. So now first, if you look at our original equation, that's x over 4 times 2x² minus x minus 10 equals to y. Okay. So clearly y is being replaced by some other equation. Now we have to figure out what that equation is, how our equation was changed to get it. So first, if we look over here, we have 2x cubed minus x² minus 10x equals to 2x minus 4. If I divide both sides by 4, that gives me x over 4 because x is common in all of these terms, multiplied by 2x² minus x minus 10. And over here, it becomes x over 2 minus 1, which means our equation is y equals to x over 2 minus 1. We have to basically change the given equation into the form that's originally in the question, and then see what is happening to the other side. And whatever you get after you have turned it into the original equation, that is your equation of the line that you have to draw on the graph to get the values of x. So we have to sketch y equals to x over 2 minus 1. Y equals to x over 2 minus 1. If we put x equals to 0, y is going to be negative 1. If we put y equals to 0, so that's going to give us 1 equals to x over 2, 2 equals to x. So one point is 0, negative 1. So 0, negative 1 is over here. And the other point is 2, 0. So that's over here. So we just connect these 2 points. And we're getting one solution over here, one solution over here, and the other over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 2.4. 1, 2, 3. 0.35. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2.4. So these are the 3 x values. Question 7 says solve 4x plus 7 equals to 16. So this is a multi-step equation. We first subtract 7 from 16, which is going to give us 9. Then we do 9 divided by 4. So that's basically the same as 2 whole number 1 over 4. So you can write it either way. That's a value of x. Then solve 5 times 4 minus 5 is 30. We can begin with dividing both sides by 5. So that's going to be 4 minus y equals to 30 over 5, which is going to be 4 minus y equals to 6. Then we can swap the y and 6 to make y positive and to isolate it as well. So it's going to be 4 minus 6 equals to y, which is negative 2. That's your answer. An alternative method would have been that you expand the brackets. So you multiply 5 with 4 and negative y. So that's going to be 20 minus 5y equals to 30. Then we swap 5y with 30. So 20 minus 30 equals to 5y. Negative 10. Divide both sides by 5. And that also gives us negative 2 equals to y. Both ways are correct. Choose the one that suits you most. Either way, you'll get same answer. Then write down all the integers that satisfy the inequality. So all the integers that satisfy this inequality are basically going to be negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. First, you write negative 3 over 2 as a decimal, so that's going to be negative 1.5. So your limit is between negative 1.5 and 3. Negative 1.5 is included, 3 isn't. However, since it says integers, integers are whole numbers. So negative 1.5 cannot be written in the values. That's going to be wrong. So you start with the value that's above negative 1.5, which is negative 1. Negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Those are your integer values. Then rearrange the formula y equals to 4y minus x over 3x to make x the subject. So let's begin with cross multiplying and getting into the fraction. It's going to be 3xy equals to 4y minus x. Collect all of the terms with x on one side. So 3xy minus x plus x equals to 4y. Take x common. 3y plus 1 equals to 4y. If you notice, initially we had x in 2 places in the equation. But now, once we collected the terms with x on one side and took x common, we only have one x now, which is exactly what we wanted to make x the subject of the formula. Last step is to divide 4y by 3y plus 1. And that is your answer. Then it says simplify 12x squared minus 3y squared divided by 2x squared plus 8x minus xy minus 4y. So for this, we're going to see how we can factorize this. And is there is anything common between, the numerator and denominator. If you look at the numerator, we know 12 and 3 come in the same times table. So let's take 3 common, and we're left with 4x squared minus y squared over here. In the denominator, we can see that if we factor by grouping, we can rewrite 2x squared plus 8x as 2x bracket x plus 4 and negative xy minus 4y as negative y bracket x plus 4. Now, 4x squared minus y squared basically reminds us of difference of perfect squares. And by now, you should be able to recognize these things if you have solved several papers. Whenever we have two square numbers being subtracted, we use difference of perfect squares. Difference of perfect squares says that a squared minus b squared equals to a plus b times a minus b, which means 4x squared minus y squared would be 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 1. So rewrite 4x squared minus y squared as 2x plus 1 times 2x plus y, times 2x minus y. Over, we can take x plus 4 common from 2x minus y. So that leaves us with x plus 4 times 2x minus y. We can see that we have a 2x minus y in the numerator and denominator, so we cancel those out. And that leaves us as 3 times 2x plus y over x plus 4. So this is a simplified answer for this algebraic fraction. Question number 8 says that ADB and AEC are straight lines. BC is parallel to DE. BC is 9.8 centimeters, BD is 2.7 centimeters, DE is 5.6 centimeters, and C is 3.9 centimeters. Complete the missing angles and reasons to show that triangle ABC is similar to triangle ADE. In triangle ABC and triangle ADE, angle BAC is equal to angle what? And reason is common angle. So angle BAC is equal to angle DAE because A is the common angle. So DAE. Then angle ABC is equal to angle ABC is equal to angle ADE because they're both corresponding angles. For these, you need to know your angle and parallel lines properties. So ADE plus corresponding angles. Then angle ACB is equal to angle AED because again, corresponding angles. As the three pair of angles are equal, triangle ABC is similar to triangle ADE, which is completely correct. Now it's saying show that AD is equals to 3.6 and AE is 5.2. So since they're similar triangles, that means each length is being enlarged by the scale factor. And that scale factor is common for all of the lengths. So we know 5.6 becomes 9.8. They're asking to show what AD is and what AE is. So for AD is similar to AB, but AB includes AD and BD, which is 2.7. And we can put this fraction equal to DE over BC. So that's 5.6 divided by 9.8. So that's going to be 0.5714. Cross multiply AD equals to 0.5714 AD plus 1.54. We take 0.5714 AD to the other side. So AD minus 0.57 AD, I'm going to remove the decimal places, equals to 1.54. So that's going to be 0.43 AD equals to 1.54. AD equals to 1.54 over 0.43, which is equal to 3.6 centimeters as asked in the question. Now for AE, we'll do AE over AE plus EC equals to, again, 5.6 divided by 9.8. So we know that EC is 3.9, which is equal to 0.57. AE equals to 0.57 AE plus 2.223. So AE minus 0.57 AE equals to 2.223, which is equal to 0.43 AE again. So AE is going to be 2.223 divided by 0.43, and that is going to give us 5.2 centimeters as shown in the question. So these are your AD and AE values. Then says calculate the angle DAE. DAE is this angle. We already found this to be 3.6 and this to be 5.2. So if I highlight the triangle, we can see that we have all three lengths and we're trying to find an angle. So whenever we all three lengths and trying to find an angle, that means we can use cosine rule, especially if it's a non-right angle triangle. So since it meets the condition for cosine rule, we're going to use the formula cos of angle A equals to 3.6 square plus 5.2 square minus 5.6 square over 2 times 3.6 times 5.2. That's going to give us a value of 76.7 degrees for the angle A. Let's just calculate the area of the triangle ABC. So the area of the triangle ABC we have this angle 76.7. We have the complete lengths now for AB and AC because we already find the AD and AE value. So AB is 3.6 plus 2.7, which is going to be 6.3 centimeters. And AC is going to be 5.2 plus 3.9, which is going to be 9.1 centimeters. So area would be 1 over 2 times 9.1 times 6.3 times sine of 76.7. This is the formula that is used when you have two lengths and the angle between them in a non-right angle triangle. So we plug in the values in the calculator, and what we get is 27.9 centimeters square. That is the area of the triangle ABC. Question number 9 says ABC and D are points in a circle center O. AOD and OCE are straight lines. DE is tangent to the circle at D. Angle ABC equals to 126 and DE is 10.5 centimeters. Calculate the radius of the circle. So first thing you need to realize is that if we connect A, D, B, and C, we have a cyclic quadrilateral. In a cyclic quadrilateral, all the vertices of the quadrilateral are touching the circumference, which is exactly what's happening over here. So if it's a cyclic quadrilateral, that means opposite angles add up to 180, which means angle D ODC is going to be 180 minus 126, which is equal to 54 degrees. So that's one thing. Another thing is that OD is your radius because the line is coming from the center towards the circumference. And DE is your tangent, which means this is a 90-degree angle. So angle C, which means angle CDE would be 90 minus 54, which is equal to 36 degrees. Okay. Now that we have our angle sorted, we want to calculate the radius of the circle. So radius is basically this. This is the radius. This is also the radius. So as you can see, OC and OD are the radius. So if we highlight this triangle over here, this is an isosceles triangle. So which means this is also 54. So angle DOC would be 180 minus twice of 54, which is going to give us 72 degrees. So keeping that in mind, highlight triangle ODE. So we have this length, we have this angle. So using SOHCAHTOA, we can easily find OD. So if we draw this triangle separately over here, we can see that this is D, this is O, this is E. DE is 10.5, angle O is 72, and we have to find OD. So we have the opposite, we have to find the adjacent, the angle is given. So tan 72 equals to 10.5 over x, which means x is going to be 10.5 divided by tan 72. That is going to give us a value of 3.41 centimeters. So that is your radius of the circle. Then part B says P and Q are points in a different circle center O. The angle of the minor sector POQ is 82 degrees. The length of the minor arc PQ is 7.3 centimeters. Calculate the area of the major sector. So we have the angle of the minor sector. We have the length of the minor sector. They want us to find the area of the major sector. So to find the area, we need the angle and the radius. Angle for the major sector can easily be found by subtracting 82 and 360. So POQ would be 360 minus 82, which gives us a value of 278. So we have our angle covered. Now, to find the radius, we will use our minor arc value. So arc length basically equals to your arc length equal to the angle, which is 82 divided by 360 times 2 pi r. So we do 7.3 times 360 divided by 82 times 2 pi, which is going to give us a value of 5.1 centimeters for the radius. This is 5.1, this is 5.1. We have the angle, we have the radius, we can find area of the major sector, which is 278 over 360 times pi r squared. So that equals to 63.1 centimeters squared. Very simple question, but all you have to do is read the question carefully, make sure that you're looking at what they're asking for. They're not asking for the area of the minor sector, it's the major sector. And for the major sector, the angle is going to be different. It's not going to be 82. So if you end up finding the area of the minor sector, you're not going to get full marks. Question 10 says the cost of apples is X cents per kilogram. Mina spends $9 on apples. Write down expression for the mass in kilograms of apples Mina receives. So X cents is for 1 kilogram. We know $1 equals to 100 cents. So $9 are going to equal to 900 cents. So if X cents get us 1 kg, 900 cents would get us 900 over X kgs. Then says the cost of pears is 40 cents per kilogram more than the cost of apples. Minna spends $9 on pears. The mass of pears Minna receives is 0.75 kgs less than the mass of apples. Form an equation x and show that it simplifies to x squared plus 40x minus 48,000 equals to 0. So for the cost, it's 40 cents more than the cost of apples. So 40 plus x. And then for the mass, 0.75 less than the mass of apples. So if we do mass of apples minus mass of pears, that equals to 0.75 because mass of pears is less than mass of apples. So mass of apples was found to be 900 over x. So mass of pears would be 900 because she's still spending $9 over the cost of per kilogram of pears, which is 40 plus x. And this is going to equal to 0.75. So now if we make the denominators equal, it's going to be x times 40 plus x. We times the first fraction by 40 plus x, that's going to be 900 times 40 plus x. And over here we times it by x, so minus 900x. So that's 900 times 40 is 36,000 plus 900x minus 900x. Cross multiply 0.75 times x times 40 plus x. So that's going to give us 36,000 equals to 0.75 times 40. $30x plus 0.75x squared. So 0.75x squared plus 30x minus 36,000. Divide everything by 0.75 to get rid of the 0.75 x squared. And that is going to give us 0 equals to x squared plus 40x minus 48,000 as given in the question. Then it says solve the equation x squared plus 40x minus 48,000 equals to 0. I'm going to use the quadratic formula. So x equals to negative 40 plus minus square root of 40 square minus 4 times 1 times negative 48,000 over 2 times 1. Your A value is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1. B is the coefficient of x, which is 40. And C is the constant. And C is the constant, which is negative 48,000. Remember, the sign comes with the number. You just don't write the number. So that's going to give us negative 40 plus minus 440, which is the value of the entire root. So split it into two fractions. Negative 40 plus 440 divided by 2 is going to give us 200. And negative 40 minus 440 over 2 is going to give us negative 240. So one value is 200 and the other is negative 240. Then says Narendra buys 1.5 kg of apples and 0.8 kgs of pears. Work out the total amount he pays in dollars. So we know that based on our previous calculation that x is 200 because the cost cannot be negative. And this is your 200 cents per kg. So for 1.5, we'll do 1.5 times x. And for 0.8, we do x plus 40. If you remember, the cost of pears was 40 cents more. So that's 1.5 times 200 plus 0.8 times 200 plus 40. Now this adds up to 492 cents. They want it in dollars, so we divide by 100. So that's going to be $4.92. That is the cost of apples and pears in dollars.